Well, hi. Tonight I would like to mention something that's been kind of bothering me for about a month, and I'm just going to get into it. My wife and I were out having a fast food meal a while back, and while we were in there, there was another couple. They were about our age, maybe a little bit younger. And I got to tell you, the husband's behavior really bothered me. He kept making these really derogatory comments about his wife, and then trying to laugh them off like it's a joke. And I'll be honest, some things really aren't funny. And to top it off, as this couple left the restaurant, the worker behind the counter said, have a nice day. And his response was, I can't have a nice day. I'm married to her. Now, maybe he thought that was funny. I just don't see any humor in that. I just don't understand how running down your life partner in public in front of other people is funny. I don't know. Now, every relationship has its own peculiarities, and maybe the two of them have something worked out where they do this all the time. I don't know. But the wife didn't seem very happy about it, and I wasn't either. As if you've watched these videos, that my wife has really been so wonderful to me, and she's the key reason I'm doing as well as I am, and I have nothing but love and respect for her. And I would frankly like to see that in other marriages a little bit more. I'd like to see people acknowledge, hey, this is the person that I picked. I picked this person to marry, you know, um, and hey, she's it for me. And anyway, so my wife and I talked about it a little bit afterwards, and she said, that's emotional abuse to talk about somebody like that in front of others. And I said, I was hoping it wasn't just me. And I know another thing too. If I ever talked about my wife like that in front of other people, my life expectancy would drop to milliseconds. And deservedly so, I think. So again, whatever people do to get through a marriage, I suppose it's really none of my business. But I just don't see anything funny in that. If you love somebody, respect them and respect them in public. Show appreciation for them, not this incredible contempt and scorn, and then try and laugh it off as a joke. That's not funny. That is just not funny. I mean, the day may come when he really needs that woman, you know, and she may tell him to go take a hike. So I don't know, but okay. Well, anyway, that's all for today. Just a really quick thing. So I'll be back later with another message. Thanks for watching.